Hello there, Salam Sarawak, Maju Makmur. You're now with me, Shel Chamato, for TVS English News at 5. Let's begin with the headlines. Mohammed FAIZAL Shah Ali has been appointed as the Director of the Community Communication Department, or J-KOM Sarawak, effective Monday, July 17th. In confirming the matter, Deputy Minister in the Premier's Office of Corporate Affairs, Information and Sarawak Public Communications Unit, UKAS, Dato' Abdullah Saidul said he was informed of the appointment by the Director General of J-KOM in the Prime Minister's Department, Dato' Dr. Muhammad Agus Yusof. Previously, FAIZAL was the head of the Development Unit in the Office of the Sarawak Federal Secretary Office. He also served as the head of the Strategic Communications section of the Sarawak National Security Council. The Sarawak government has approved an allocation of 17.5 million ringgit for the upgrading of Jalan IGAN Oya, a main connective road for residents under the Jemoring constituency. Jemoring Assemblyman Dr. Juanda Jaya said the 12.5-kilometre road project will take an estimated duration of 12 months.
Yang telah di-award kepada kontraktor yang terpilih melalui tender yang terbuka, di mana kerja bagi projek ini selama 12 bulan, kerja selama 12 bulan bermula 5 Julai 2023 sehingga dijangka siap pada 4 Julai 2024. Upgrading atau naik taraf jalan JKR dua lorong mengikut standard R3 JKR ini.
In regards to this, Dr. Juanda, who is also State Deputy Minister in the Premier's Department of Integrity and Ombudsman, advises road users to be mindful during the upgrading works. He also said that the project is part of the Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS's government's initiative to care for the well-being of the people in the constituency. The project commenced on 5th of July and is expected to be completed by 4th July next year. The commemoration of Sarawak's 6 decades of independence is now rigorously underway, serving as a conduit for instilling patriotism and fostering unity within a diverse multi-ethnic society. The celebration, themed Sarawak Maju Makmur, features 9 extravagant events. These include the Kembara Sarawak Merdeka Convoy, the 60th Sarawak Merdeka Digital Exhibitions, and the premier Thanksgiving ceremony. Also featured are the star-studded People's Concert and fireworks show, as well as parades featuring floats and marching contingents. The highlight event of the 60th Sarawak Merdeka celebration will be a gargantuan parade and gathering at Padang Merdeka, Kuching on July 22nd, starting at 8:30 a.m., followed by a commemorative medal award ceremony to those who fought for Sarawak's growth during its 6 decades of independence. Sarawak is home to a diverse number of ethnicities and cultures. This can be seen from its historic landmarks to the diverse representation of the local traders. Now, TVS met with a few of them, particularly merchants from the nostalgic Cathay Street in Kuching, who shared their stories over the long years that they have been trading and how Sarawak is the perfect place to do business.
Optical wear seller Shalsada Lalzada revealed what he loved most in Sarawak, being a trader at the street for 40 years.
Sarawak tu memang best dagang ke apa ke macam-macam sini kaum ada Cina, ada apa Iban, aku ni orang panggil apa Tambi lah kira. 44 tahun dah jual ini kaki 5 ni. Ini tu tempat lah, tempat apa ya di BKU. Tolong buat. Okey ni tempat ni cantik. Sarawak ni memang best berbilang kaum ada okey semuanya bersatu hati.
For cobbler Muhammad Safri, Kuching has seen many developments, especially in its industries.
Tentang kepesatan bisnes di Kuching, Sarawak terutamanya, daripada 10 tahun dan 20 tahun yang lepas ada menunjukkan kepesatan dan kemajuan dari segi industri luar dan industri dalam.
For Taylor Zaiton Bujang, the beauty of Sarawak lies in the diverse backgrounds of traders and customers in Sarawak, along with the state support of all communities.
Bermacam-macam kaum, seperti IGAN, Cina, India pun ada, baju India pun ada mula, China pun ada juga, yang Utara pun ada juga. Alhamdulillah lah rezeki lepas COVID itu adalah naik sikit. Adalah perubahan sikit dengan ada bantuan kerajaan dari kebajikan, Baitul Biro wanita pun kami dapat juga bantuannya sebab kami ibu tunggal. Sebagai seorang Sarawak, syukur alhamdulillah.
Malaysia needs to adopt an approach to be seen as a middle power with a pragmatic policy in addressing current geopolitical challenges. Minister of Foreign Affairs Dato Sri Dr. Zambri Abdul Qadir said, although Malaysia is not considered a major power, it is also cannot be seen as a minor power that has no impact whatsoever to other countries.
Jadi di sinilah peranan penting untuk Malaysia laksanakan dalam melihat persekitaran semua. Tetapi dalam masa yang sama, dasar-dasar berkecuali Malaysia itu sangat mustahak supaya kita tidak dilihat sebagai sebuah negara yang terlalu ke kanan atau ke kiri atau menyokong mana-mana negara kuasa besar yang akan memberi impak yang tidak seimbang kepada negara Malaysia kita. Antara itulah Malaysia mengambil pendekatan untuk memastikan supaya setiap dasar yang kita ambil adalah dasar yang berkecuali tetapi dalam masa yang sama memberi kesan dan impak yang positif kepada persekitaran geopolitik di kawasan kita dan termasuk juga di kawasan Asia Pasifik dan Indo-Pacific.
He said this during a media briefing after chairing the second meeting of the Foreign Policy Consultation Council at Wisma Putra earlier today. Regarding today's meeting, Zambri stated that it discussed the global economic position, including the implications of intense competition between major powers such as China and the US on other countries like Malaysia, which lies in the middle in terms of power. He mentioned that the meeting also discussed current geopolitical challenges and what is Malaysia's approach when certain countries establish security cooperation, such as AUKUS, which is the partnership between Australia, the United Kingdom, and the US.
Global temperatures were soaring to historic highs as the world's two biggest carbon emitters, the United States and China, today sought to reignite talks on climate change. The scientists saying the target of keeping global warming within 1.5 degrees Celsius of pre-industrial levels is moving beyond reach. Evidence of the crisis was everywhere.
Death Valley is definitely getting hotter with every summer. We're always breaking heat records, and it's only going to keep getting hotter from here. In fact, 7 of Death Valley's hottest summers, of Death Valley's top 10 hottest summers, happened just in the last 10 years.
It is miserable being outside unless you're in the water somehow, and it's actually not safe at all.
Wildfires in Europe raged ahead of a second heat wave in 2 weeks that was set to send temperatures as high as 48 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, nearly a quarter of the U.S. population fell under extreme heat advisories, partly due to a heat dome that has settled over western states. Over in South Korea, search efforts continued today as fire authorities walked through thick mud to look for signs of further victims in the remaining vehicles of a flooded tunnel in Cheongju.
늘 일상화되는 것이기 때문에 이러한 기후 변화 이 상황을 이제 우리가 늘상 있는 것으로 알고 대처를 해야지 이거를 이상 현상이니까 어쩔 수 없다는 식의 인식은
12 deaths, including 3 bodies found overnight, occurred in a tunnel in Cheongju, 110 kilometers south of Seoul, where 16 vehicles, including a bus, were swamped by a flash flood on Saturday, July 15, after a river levee collapsed.
Russia's announcement that it was withdrawing from a pact that allowed Ukrainian grains to leave Black Sea ports sent a shiver through some of the world's poorest countries, many of which are already reeling from inflation, conflict shocks, and conflict.
The Black Sea grains deal, brokered by the United Nations and Turkey in July 2022, helped bring down global food prices and allowed aid agencies to access hundreds of thousands of tons of food at a time of rising needs and scarce funding.
I think it's unfortunate that we use and we can use food as a tactic, as a political tactic, as a military tactic, which it should not be used. We've seen that countries such as Somalia are heavily dependent on food importation, especially from Ukraine and from Russia. And it's important that there is no disruption in food supplies, because any disruption would mean that, one, there is limited access to food, and two, even if there is access, there is a problem with affordability because of increase in prices.
Somalia, where relentless conflict between state forces and militants have forced millions to flee their homes, has been one of the biggest beneficiaries of the Black Sea Grain Initiative. According to UN trade data, it received 84,000 tons of wheat from Ukraine in 2022, up from 31,000 tons in 2021, as donors stepped up assistance to fend off a looming famine in certain areas. The Kremlin said on Monday that Russia was quitting the pact because its demands to improve its own grain and fertilizer exports had not been met. The UN World Food Programme has also turned heavily to Ukrainian grains to feed people in countries suffering from conflicts and extreme weather, including Somalia, Yemen, and Afghanistan.
At least 4,000 people have been evacuated as a forest fire burned out of control on the Spanish island of La Palma as Europe struggled to cope with the heat wave. Authorities said on Sunday, July 16, that the fire in La Palma started in the early hours of Saturday in El Pinar de Punta Gorda, a wooded area in the north of the island in the Canaries.
The blaze forced the evacuation of people from the villages of Punta Gorda and neighboring Tillarafe.
Aquí pues tendrán cama, comida y servicio de atención en lo que podamos ayudarles.
Me llamó mi hermano y otro que teníamos que salir de ahí. Fuimos a la casa y después pues han avisado, bueno, pues hay que ir a donde le llevan a uno.
Incendios muchos años, pero como este no. No tan fuerte no. Esto es horrible, horroroso.
10 aerial units and 300 firefighters on the ground sought to bring the wildfire under control on the island, which forms part of a Spanish archipelago off the coast of Western Africa. According to authorities, the fire has affected more than 4,650 hectares of land.
And that's all the time we have for TVS News at 5. I'm Charlotte Metro. Thank you for watching.